Hey guys, welcome back. In last week's video, I mentioned that I got a brand new dirt bike. This here is my 2023 KTM 300 XCW. I bought it just about a month ago and I've already got almost 10 hours on the bike and it is absolutely amazing. I had some people ask some questions, so I decided to make another video this week talking about some of the modifications that I have made to this bike. I got an absolutely killer deal. I paid just over $8,900 out the door, taxes and everything. So I was really happy about that and I really wanted to continue saving money. And so I actually swapped over a lot of the parts from my old bike over to this bike. It just so happened that a lot of the parts swapped over and fit perfectly onto my new bike. I'm going to start by going over those parts and then I'll show you some of the newer parts that I've installed as well. But first, if you guys like this type of content, please let us know in the comment section below. And please, please, please subscribe to our channel because my sister and I are really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of summer. You'll notice on some of these old parts that I swapped over from my old bike, they're a little bit beat up, but they're still in perfectly good condition to be able to put on this new bike. I did race a few hard enduro events and just a lot of the rocky riding I do. The first thing I did was swap over these bulletproof brake rotor guards. I did that for both the front and the rear. And on the rear, I also included the caliper guard as well. You can see here when you zoom in just how many rocks I've hit and how many times these things have actually saved my brake rotors. Couple more bulletproof products that I swapped over from the old bike, starting with these Radiator Guards. They are absolutely bomb-proof. Taken a lot of hits to these and they still are a perfect fit on this new bike. This is Bulletproof's throttle body protection. This bike comes stock with a black plastic, kind of flimsy one. If you crash and break that flimsy plastic piece, that is a day ruiner. That's the end of your ride. And the last part from Bulletproof that I swapped over is this exhaust flange guard right here. Super easy to install. It basically just slips on and it just provides protection. Getting these two pieces is highly recommended. Next up is this P3 carbon fiber pipe guard. This thing is really beat up, as you'll see here in a second, but these carbon fiber guards are so strong. I think this will last me for quite a while longer. The next few items are pretty expensive, so I saved a ton of money on these next three things. This one's a little bit controversial. I get it, especially on two strokes, but I really like having the Rekluse. I use my clutch a ton when I'm riding, but it's kind of just there as a safety net. Swapped over the Rekluse. It was a perfect fit from that old bike. The clutch plates were still in really good condition, so I didn't even need to order new ones. And this one comes with the adjustable slave cylinder. Next up, these things are about $300 to $400 new. I used to race downhill mountain bikes, and so I love having a left-handed brake here. I don't use it a ton, but I do like it for the really long, sustained downhill sections on the dirt bike, and then also for some of those really tight downhill switchbacks. It's incredibly helpful to have. It's not the newest version. They do have a 2.0 out now, but this one is the hydraulic brake line. I really like this aux brake system. Say your foot brake just stops working or you take a bad crash and it breaks off, you still can operate the rear brake with that left-hand lever. The tubeless system I had on the old bike was still in good condition, and so I just swapped those over. It did mean having to change not one, not two, 4 tires one evening, so that was kind of a pain, but yeah, I've got them installed on the new bike. I almost forgot this one because it's hidden under the seat, but I actually saved $1,200, I think is what they're charging now. I installed, again from the old bike, this GET ECU. This comes with the Wi-Fi connection, so you can adjust your mapping on the fly from your phone. And it also has this mapping switch up here on the handlebars. When I took it off my Husky, I did send it back to Slavens Racing. They remapped the ECU and sent it back to me. The old bike had injectors moved and a few other things, high compression head, and so they remapped it specifically for this bike. That's it for me being cheap and swapping over parts. Now moving on to the new stuff I have installed. The most obvious is the plastics and graphics. So I went with all black plastics, and I really wanted to, because a lot of those parts off my Husky were blue, I wanted to incorporate that into my new design. And I found these sweet graphics from Scrub Designs, and really easy to install. So far they're holding up great, and yeah, I love the look of this bike. Moving on up to the handlebars, I did install these Pro Bend wraparound handguards. I also put on this giant loop handlebar bag. It's the perfect size. I usually store my cell phone in there and maybe keep a couple GoPro batteries and maybe some energy chews, just for easy access while I'm riding. You do have the ability with these KTMs to switch between two different maps, but it is really difficult. It's like down under here and it's an absolute pain. So unfortunately, KTM makes you buy this map switch to go between map 1 and 2. I think that was $80. This switch over here basically controls the stock maps on the bike, and then this one is the mapping for the GET ECU. Next up, and possibly one of the best purchases I made, is the Seat Concepts low comfort seat. It lowers the height of the bike just a little bit. I can just barely touch my feet now, and I'm 5'5", and this thing is super comfortable for those long days on the trail. Another really good investment I made on this bike was taking it into M9 suspensions. He went in and revalved it, changed out the springs for my weight, and then also lowered the bike internally a ½ an inch, both front and rear. My old bike was lowered, I believe, an inch, and it kind of affected the performance of the suspension a bit, but with this ½ inch, it's amazing. I absolutely love it. I did buy a couple of Tusk products, and I really like their stuff. I think they make a good product, and the price is totally reasonable. Starting with the radiator fan with the digital readout here. Next, I've got the skid plate. That one was a little bit more of a pain to install because it does have like a separate mounting system. However, it does clamp to the frame. So once it's installed, taking off and putting the skid plate back on is super easy. This thing is really strong and provides awesome protection, so I'm really happy with it. And the last thing, I don't even know what it's called, but I always carry a spare with me because I have seen them broken off. So I have this Tusk foot brake lever. Moving to the back of the bike, I put on this Enduro Engineering spark arrestor. Again, really easy install, and it's easy to pull that little filter out, clean it, and then reinstall it. While I'm here, I'm going to talk about the idle screw that I bought. This is made by Slavens Racing. You order it on their website. Now this bike, as amazing as it is, it does run a little bit lean, and KTM, because of all their EPA regulations, do not allow you to change the idle. This screw up here looks like an idle adjustment, but it's not. It's just an air screw. I ordered this idle screw from Slavens. You go in, it's kind of a pain. You have to be really careful not to overheat it and not to strip it out. But anyway, it makes this bike run so much better. And the last thing, and these were pretty cheap, but I think they add really good protection. From Polysport, I added the ignition cover and the swing arm protectors. All in all, I think with all the parts that I swapped over, I think I saved somewhere around $3,300 to $3,500, which is absolutely amazing, especially considering the deal I got on this bike. I did spend about $1,000 for all the additional new parts, but still, this bike comes in under $10,000, and I am so excited to ride it this season. In the description below, I'm going to leave a link to all of these parts so you can go check them out for yourself. Most of them I ordered either on Slavens Racing or on Rocky Mountain ATV, so be sure to check some of this stuff out and leave a comment for me. Tell me what modifications you think I need to add to this bike, or let me know if you want me to do any reviews on any of these products. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys out on the trails. Bye.